Hello, everyone. My name is Alfredo Herrera. I'm a real estate agent with Tropicasa Realty. And today is a special day because we are having a chat with Wayne Franklin, broker of Tropicasa, about a real estate market here in Puerto Vallarta. Hello, Franklin. How are you today?
Very good, Alfredo. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
Franklin, as we are in the first quarter of 2024, I did a year over year comparison between 2022 and 2023 with statistics from the Flex MLS, which you have seen. Now, I have heard different opinions about our real estate market here in Puerto Vallarta, but I would certainly love to hear your thoughts about our market. And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. So, based in the data showing in the year-over-year statistic, a decrease in sales between 2022 and 2023 occurred. What are your thoughts on the reasons behind this drop, and how do market conditions or external factors contribute to this trend?
Yeah, great question, Alfredo. And I'm going to give you a little bit different answer than you're probably hearing in the marketplace because I have a bit of a different opinion on this. I don't think the market is crashing, as many are saying. I believe that really what is happening, as you know, over the last year, there were a number of pre-construction projects that were halted. And as a result of that, I think that has been the primary cause of what we're seeing. To give you some perspective, 57% of all sales last year in homes and condos were pre-construction. That's a significant number. And so a large portion of the marketplace has been sort of frozen. That inventory has been frozen and not available for people to purchase. So in your reference of the MLS statistics, there was 27% decrease in sales volume and 36% decrease in number of units sold this last year. And I think a lot of that is as a result of inventory that people could not buy.
Well, it is certainly a large number of units that were taken off the market for sure. Now, given the average sales price and percent of list price obtained from the analysis, what is your opinion on buyer sentiment and market competitiveness in Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah, that's kind of the backup for what my gut is telling me in relation to the pre-construction. If you look at the per unit sales prices, those actually increased by 17%. That's not a small number. So people paid 17% more than the year before per property. In addition to that, the differential between what people were asking as the list price and what the property actually sold for remained relatively flat. In fact, I think condos went up a little bit by 2% or 0.2%, something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, you wouldn't have either of those factors if the market were really coming to a crash. The prices would definitely be dropping. And in addition to that, there'd be a much greater spread in between the list price and the sales price.
True. Yeah, we do have a tendency to see the drop in sales and ignore other information such as this key indicator. For sure. Reflecting on the market dynamics and trends from the past year, what is your outlook for the Puerto Vallarta real estate market for the rest of 2024? And what factors are, if any, likely to influence this direction?
Yeah, these are good questions. I've been saying for about 6 months that I believe that 2024 is going to remain flat over 2023, which, based on what everybody else is saying, is a very positive outlook. We've got 2 elections taking place, one in the US and one in Mexico. And the one in Mexico is just right around the corner, and then we have another one at the end of the year in the US. And as we know, historically, people kind of take a wait and see attitude for at least 6 months prior to elections. So I think that is an influencing factor that we're experiencing now. But once the elections have taken place and people know who is going to be in power, then they get back to their regular daily lives, right? But in addition to that, I think that what we're seeing and every indication so far is that both the US and Canada are going to see adjustments downward in interest rates. And I think that is going to be a very positive influence on our market.
That's good to know. Franklin, as you know, currency fluctuations could potentially impact the market, especially for transactions involving foreign investors, which is a large share of our market. How significant do you believe the role of currency exchange rate is in shaping real estate investment decisions in Puerto Vallarta?
Well, as you know, real estate transactions in this area specifically, and even in a couple of other areas throughout Mexico, are conducted primarily in US dollars, even though they can and are also conducted in pesos.
Yes.
And so from the American perspective, US dollar to US dollar, there's really not going to be any concern there as far as any exchange rate differential, as long as they're buying in US dollars, right? But the Canadians, on the other hand, they're already experiencing an issue in relation to the exchange between Canadian dollars and US dollars. And then if you compound that with the Mexican exchange rate, they're the ones who are going to feel this more than anybody. I don't think it's going to have such a significant impact. It might have some, but I don't think a huge impact as to the real estate market. But I think just on day-to-day living, it is for everybody. All concerned, because you've seen that prices are increasing in restaurants and services and suppliers and things like that, whether it's for Americans or Canadians or Mexican nationals. So I think that's really going to be the thing to watch more of, rather than the impact on the real estate market.
Lastly, Franklin, are there any specific areas in Puerto Vallarta that you believe will see higher growth or demand? And what factors do you think will contribute to your prediction?
Well, let's see. I'm going to divine this. We've already seen that our little town is growing, right? And so Cinco de Diciembre and Versailles have grown by leaps and bounds, and they will continue to do so. I mean, I've even been saying for at least 5 years that Cinco de Diciembre was going to be the next area because of its proximity to town, to the beach, and with views, right? So it only made sense. But then you have other areas such as Palomar de Alamara, out by Walmart and Sam's, and those areas that are already on the map as far as new development is concerned. But then you've got areas that still have a growth pattern, and that would be, for example, El Coloso. Very close here to town, very walkable, it's all flat. And development is only really starting to take place. There's one primary development that's been going on off and on for years, but I think there's going to be more. And so those areas will be key to look at, especially given that a lot of people don't want to have a car, they like to walk everywhere, taxis, Ubers, that kind of stuff. But for those people who want to be a little bit more remote, they don't want to have the hustle bustle, they want a little bit more quiet or a jungle setting, and they want their independence with a car, then areas to the south, I think, are going to be one of the areas that you really should be focusing and looking at. In addition to hillside properties, again, when developers kind of have their fill of what's going on down here, downtown, then they'll migrate back up to the hills.
We're on top of each other here.
Yeah. People kind of like that.
They do, they do. Well, Franklin, as always, it's been very interesting to hear what you have to say about our real estate market. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. I'm sure that people watching us have gathered important information, especially those that have plans to purchase property in Puerto Vallarta. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
I hope it helped.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.